debated whether or not I should even make this video because, to be honest, I feel a little bit ashamed in a way. I don't know, I feel like maybe it's because I don't really hear that many people talking about this particular subject. And maybe there are some people and I've just never seen their videos or anything. But anyways, as you can see from the title, this video is going to be all about pregnancy from the perspective of someone that's never been very maternal. Because that's me. So let's start from the very beginning. So growing up, my sister and I were very different. She was the kind of kid that was obsessed with babies. She loved children and always knew that she wanted to be a mother. Like, that was always her ultimate goal in life. Whereas for me, I literally could not relate. I mean, I could not care less about babies, about anything like that. I was the kind of person that if you tried to hand me your child, I would run the F away. Like, I just didn't want anything to do with it. It wasn't my vibe, you know? And because of the like stark contrast between my sister and I grew up not even sure if I wanted kids, because I was like, well, I don't seem to gravitate towards other people's kids, so that must mean that I don't want them myself. I was also just so terrified at the idea of being pregnant. I mean, it was so bad that even when my husband and I got together almost 11 years ago, wow, I used to tell him that when we had a baby, I would want a surrogate. And he would look at me in a funny way, kind of like unsure whether or not I was joking. And to be honest, I don't even know if I was joking. Like, part of me was being a bit serious because, as I said, I've just always been so terrified of being pregnant. I was scared of the things that it would do to my body. I was scared of the stretch marks, the loose skin, gaining weight, you name it. And then on top of all that, I was also a bit scared of losing my identity. I was scared of just becoming someone's mother and not being myself anymore. And I mean, those things still scare me quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie, but now that I am pregnant, things have changed. But before we get into that, I just want to speak about the moment that it really did all shift in my brain. Because as I was saying, like, I was not sure if I really wanted kids, and if I did I want them for the correct reasons? Was I just thinking about having kids because that seems to be the trajectory in life for everyone? And so I was very confused, you know? Like, I didn't know exactly what I wanted, and I wanted to figure it out before I ever decided on having kids. So let me take you back to my honeymoon. This was in 2019. We were at our second location. So we were at the Dominican Republic, and there was this one night where I was in the most pain I have ever felt. Like, I was cramping, but not in the normal like period kind of cramp. No, I was cramping so much. It was so painful to the point where we ended up having to call a doctor in the middle of the night to come to our hotel room because I literally felt like I was gonna die. And as I was waiting for him to arrive, I don't know what happened, what triggered this thought, but I was like, I'm having a miscarriage. I don't know why. I felt like my body was communicating that that is what was happening to me. And so when the doctor arrived, he checked me out and all of that, and I told him about my concern about the fact that I thought that maybe I was having a miscarriage. And he was like, you know, it very well could be. Everything that you're telling me about, it does align with that, but obviously I can't be sure. So he suggested us going to the gynecologist the next morning. And that night I had so many mixed emotions. I don't know, I was like, I'll get into that, okay? Anyways, so the next morning I went to the gynecologist and he wanted to do like a transvaginal ultrasound, and I didn't really feel very comfortable, so I was like, no, I don't really want to. And so we just did one over the belly, and he was like, well, I can't really see much. I don't think that, you know, anything has happened. And then I later found out that the only way that I actually could have known is if I did a blood test. If not, there was no other way, because if I did actually have a miscarriage, it would have been super early. It could have been just a chemical pregnancy, who knows, whatever. But anyways, yeah, he didn't really give me a definitive response, and that killed me in a way. I remember spending the rest of that day so upset, which was really surprising. I don't know, I felt like I was mourning the loss of this potential baby that I could have had. And it was the weirdest sensation ever, because I didn't feel like I was ready to be a mom or anything like that. But to have something that could have potentially happened be taken away from me, I think showed my true feelings towards that. And it just made me realize that I did, in fact, want to be a mom one day. And I think that if it wasn't for that awful experience, I wouldn't have ever known. And I hope that people can come to this conclusion and find their own answer out in a simpler way. I obviously don't wish that upon anyone. As I said, I don't even know if I did have a miscarriage, but I just remember feeling so extremely sad about the fact that I could have had a baby and maybe I had just lost it. It was very, very surreal. It really fucked me up for a while. And I think it's just one of those things that I'm always gonna think about. It's like that what if that will always float around in my head. But who knows, right? I'm just really glad that it gave me the clarity that I had been looking for. And so when we decided to start trying, so that was like around July of 2019, and then we decided to start trying in January of 2020, I was very sure that that is what I wanted to do. And so we tried and tried month after month, and then we finally were successful in June. I ended up finding out in July that I was pregnant. And you would think that because I was so sure that that's what I had wanted, that in the moment that I found out that I was pregnant, I would be overjoyed with emotions, right? But no, I panicked. I was extremely terrified. I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Is this really what I want? Again, all of those insecurities and questions were floating around in my head, but I think that that's normal. And although we don't always see that portrayed in videos that people post on YouTube and stuff like that when they find out that they're pregnant, it is pretty normal. I've come to find that out later on, but in the moment I felt really bad. I was like, why? Like, I want this. Why am I so scared? But yeah, I think it's when something comes as a surprise, some people just deal with it differently. I'm an anxious person to begin with, so I don't know. I felt very anxious when I found out, but it quickly changed for me. And throughout this pregnancy, I've had like a love-and-hate relationship towards being pregnant. I've had probably one of the easiest pregnancies ever. Like, I haven't had nausea or any of the really bad symptoms, but still I wasn't loving seeing my body change very much. And then I remember it was, I think, like week 26. I think that's when it was. I was getting ready to film my weekly pregnancy videos. So I've been filming my body every single week just to see the changes. And I looked at myself and I, for the first time in my life, felt so beautiful, which is so crazy. I've always been someone that's very thin, but yet I would always look at my body as imperfect. I would always critique it and find the stupidest little details about it that I can hate on, because that's just how my brain is wired, whatever. But this was the first time that I looked at my body and I saw it for something more than just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like it wasn't just my body, it had a greater purpose in a way. I was so proud of the fact that I was able to be a home for this little child that I have inside of me. And I just remember feeling so in love with being pregnant and my body and everything in that moment. And, you know, not to say that there are some days that I look at myself and I'm like, damn, I wish I was skinny again or whatever. But I don't know, it's like I feel like my body now doesn't only belong to me, and so I want to treat it with more kindness than I used to. very strange. And I feel like I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and I've always been like, there's no way. There's no way. You don't know me. I'm very vain. I'm never gonna love my body when I'm pregnant. But it is true. You do start treating your body a lot better than you normally would when you're not pregnant. It's very weird. Maybe it doesn't happen to everyone, but it happened to me, and I'm just so thankful that it did. I feel like within this pregnancy, I've grown a lot as a person as well. There's so many things that you go through, and I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. But ultimately, what I've learned is that my worries from before for never feeling very maternal towards other people's kids, having that baby fever that a lot of people talk about, it isn't an indicator on whether or not I will feel maternal towards my own child, because I can assure you that when it's your own, you will feel it. I had one of those 4D ultrasounds at around like week 28, and I watched that video from that moment of being able to see my baby for the first time or get a clearer image of him. I watch it every single day. I look through his pictures and everything all the time. I am so in love with the fact that I am creating this little tiny human that is one day going to be sentient and is one day going to have his own life. It's such a cool feeling that I never thought that I would experience. So basically what I want to say is trust the process, first of all. And yeah, I want to reiterate once again that having baby fever or feeling maternal towards other people's kids has nothing to do with how you will feel about your own child, okay? Because growing up, I really did think that it would go hand in hand, but it doesn't. Anyway, this is just all things that I've been thinking about a lot, especially now that I'm getting closer to the end of my pregnancy. I'm now 32 weeks, and I just feel like these past 8 months have been such a roller coaster of emotions. And even before that, like with the whole potential miscarriage or not, I've learned a lot about myself, and I've also learned to be a little bit easier on myself as well. I don't know why I do it to myself, but I have such high standards of how I need to be and react, and I don't ever do that to anyone else. I don't know why I judge myself way more than I judge the rest of the world. But yeah, I just feel like I'm gonna go in circles right now, so I'm gonna end the video. I hope that this was helpful for some of you that maybe have felt something similar. And if you have a story of your own, if you were like me, you were never that maternal, and you had a baby, I would love to hear how it went for you. Anyway, hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!